this beginning part.
Or just leave it in and be like, what the hell's going on?
Okay.
Wait.
That better?
Yes, that way you're in frame, not
Okay.
blocked by Jeremy. Alright. Intros are the worst part, so I never know how to introduce a video.
Well, you know what you want to talk about. So
I do.
just go like, hi.
Hello, Chaos Infinity viewers. I guess we're here. Wait, nope, I can't do it yet. There's something very important missing.
You don't have a remote for the camera?
No. It's okay. It's easy to edit this stuff out. You go like, okay, wait, cut.
Yeah, that's better.
Actually, really easy. You know you don't have to wear it.
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It's part of my
Okay. Now that was a good introduction. You know you don't have to wear a hat. Yes, I do.
Hello, Chaos Infinity viewers. I'm Ian. I guess we're here to do another superhero discussion. So,
As usual, I'm Josh. Dale was in the previous one.
I'm Jeremy.
Yeah, this is the first time Jeremy actually is going to be on the channel, I believe.
So, last time I spent quite a bit of time trashing the MCU. So I kind of want to do a little bit of trashing, but also a little bit of praise. It's something I think more superhero movies need to focus on, but we have been seeing some of it. That is, when the hero specifically goes out of his way to ensure the safety of civilians in a meaningful way. Not like in the Avengers where we have like a little 2-second scene of Captain America kicking a alien bomb away from civilians, which...
When saving the people is the most important part.
And let's be honest, 3 of those kids could have overtaken those Chitauri, because the Chitauri are pathetic, and I cannot stress this enough, how much I hate the Chitauri in the cinematic
They are
universe.
some sorry Chitauri.
But, this is something actually the Spider-Man movies almost universally get right. It's been a long time since I've seen the Sam Raimi trilogy, but I do remember the scene where he stops the train. And
Spider-Man 2.
was that Spider-Man 2? It's been a long time. I actually don't own that trilogy yet, but it's been quite a while, so... But then in the Andrew Garfield version, we have the scene where Electro's in Times Square, and Spider-Man does the slow motion thing where he's like webbing people up to make sure they don't touch the electrified rails. And then, of course, in Homecoming, we have 2 scenes. The first one where he's at the Washington Monument, and because of his own negligence, he accidentally sets off a alien, probably a Stark weapon bomb, and has to save the people, and him saving people is the set piece. And then what is the second scene?
Was it the boat?
Yes,
Yeah,
the boat.
The ferry.
Where he's trying to pull the ferry back together. So Spider-Man movies have been doing this pretty well. We've moved to the X-Men franchise. We have, in Days of Future Past, we have the Quicksilver scene where we see how awesome his super speed is in a fight. But then in Apocalypse, we see how awesome his super speed is at saving people from an exploding,
Mansion.
yes, the X-Mansion. Where he's like he like sets up like mats and then throws people, which, how strong would he have to be to lift up like a human being and just throw them that far? You would think more than just like speed, he'd need like strength to...
I don't know.
It doesn't matter, I
don't
mean
know
a
how
really
the-
awesome set piece.
I don't know how the physics of his actual powers work.
Nobody does.
Whether going super mega ultra fast somehow defies physics.
It does.
Okay.
These comic book movies are not based in anything that resembles science. Even the science. Tony Stark's suit is not science. The Pym particle is not science. It's high fantasy with a science fiction like sheen on it. Well, we get the scene where Quicksilver, grabs all and he's throwing him out and he's picking him up, and he even saves the dog.
Saves a
Yeah.
dog, saves some fish,
Saves
grabs
some
a
fish.
slice
Yeah.
of pizza.
He does save some
Yeah.
fish. I forgot about him saving fish. When we get to... Oh man, I lost my train of thought now.
I mean, I know at one point you were probably going to talk about the Richard Donner Superman
Yes,
stuff.
but I'm going to leave that because that has one of the best scenes ever.
Fair enough.
Oh, right. In Justice League, we get the scene where Flash is saving that family of people with his super speed, that scene would be so much better if we didn't cut to that family 745 times during the movie for no reason other than Joss Whedon is very bad at creating like this emotional line. It's like we see him like 100 million times, we'll care about him and not be bored with them at all. They got the bug spray and he didn't even do anything like spray a Paradigm with the bug spray.
You really should have.
We just did random things with the family because instead of actually creating an emotional connection, they just kind of were like, oh yeah, hey, we'll just show them a bunch.
That's modern writing for you. Like, we exist, and that's enough.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, the random people I don't know anything about at the beginning of Amazing Spider-Man 2, where he's just like swinging in during the truck chase with the guy who will be, I guess not anymore because they discontinued that series, would have been Rhino. And he's just like, oh, got this guy. Okay, he's safe now. I'm gonna, create a web net so he doesn't die. I feel more connected to those people because it's like, oh, I would just be some random civilian. Where the family in Justice League feels forced.
Yeah, they were trying to make you care about them, but we didn't care about them.
But it was nice to see Superman lift a whole building of civvies and just fly away with it. That's kind of like... And a lot of superhero movies are pretending to do this day because of the rightful ire Man of Steel got from Man of Steel just letting just whole buildings of people die so he could have a really cool fist fight with Zod. Which they actually kind of bring up. It's actually kind of a major plot point in Batman vs. Superman, which isn't as bad as everyone says it is.
No, son. Don't save things from a tornado. I'll save things from a tornado, only not really because I'm just a person. John Kent was dumb and deserved to die.
Okay,
Yeah.
I saved the dog. Oh, look, here's a tornado. Bye.
This will be
tornado.
This will be it.
This will be important for character development.
Yes.
Except not really.
No,
It
not really.
just killed his parents off, killed his dad off so they could make Superman into Batman. And it looked
And
so
also-
bad.
and
it was
also-
just like this cloud that kind of... that's not what a tornado looks like.
They had to kill off Jonathan Kent because how else will Martha Kent be single?
Yeah.
No, they never thought about that. But
So that, and we see in Civil War Scarlet Witch try to save civvies when she throws the explosion in the... and she does. She saved probably the casualty... She probably cut that casualty rate in half instead of Crossbones blowing himself up in the middle of a crowded market area. But that's the point I'm making about them pretending. Like, these in Civil War during that fight, they're not even trying to evacuate people. The Avengers are just more than happy to have a giant gunfight in the middle of a crowded area. Or in Age of Ultron, where Tony Stark and Hulk are just, we're in a crowded cityscape. We'll just be more than happy to have Hulk and Hulkbuster box each other in the middle of this town.
I mean, I understand Hulk. Hulk would be out of his
Especially
head with rage.
mind-controlled Hulk.
Yeah.
Right.
But like nowadays, all these movies make like these little offlines. It's like a bad Power Rangers episode. Good thing that fight happened in the abandoned warehouse district.
Oh yeah.
It's like
Right next to the explosion factory.
Yeah.
the abandoned explosion factory.
Yeah.
That's true.
We can't have anybody,
Nobody's in it.
Nobody's in it. Which is actually one of the things I kind of like about the X-Men universe is they really don't shy away from the collateral damage. And it's not that the X-Men aren't trying to help people, but when you're got people on the scale of Apocalypse and Magneto, it's kind of hard to avoid death in that situation.
And mutants inadvertently causing death and pain. adds to the political problems people have with mutants.
Mhm.
So that adds to the narrative, if possible.
Right. And of course, this is something that the Spider-Man cartoon actually did a lot. All of them actually, a lot. We almost always, like, every 5-6 episodes get a scene where there's some fight and people are falling and he's got to figure out creative ways to... And it's just something that people really write a lot with Spider-Man that nobody really does with a lot of these other heroes. You know, the first Iron Man, we see him kind of like, oh, I'm in the middle of this fight with these terrorists, I'm gonna beat these guys up and, you know, use my thing to shoot those little dart missile things that make sure no civvies died. But then he sees Jericho missiles and just like, oh, I'm gonna blow that stuff up. And who knows who was around that, but he didn't care. He did save the pilot though, and he accidentally smashed his plane, the pilot ejected, and he saved the pilot. And the pilot couldn't get his parachute open. So, I mean, there's that. And, no. Don't really have any other major examples, except the one in Superman 2 I want to talk about, but that's kind of...
I could put one in.
Uh-huh.
Iron Man 3, he used his remote control armor to save all the
Oh,
crew of Air
the
Force One.
skydiving scene. Yes, that was just a great scene. Once again, it was an action set piece based around the hero helping someone instead of punching, you know, a clone of himself in the face. I mean, for as much praise as Black Panther gets, he really didn't do a whole lot to help the people of Wakanda survive the civil war they were going through.
Not really.
He just kind of stood in the middle of his little train area and spent the time with a very confusing set piece fighting Killmonger, because they did the thing where they like used the whatever to destabilize the vibranium, but the whole time the vibranium was destabilized, it just stood on opposite ends of the train track, spitting lines of Joss Whedon dialogue at each other. I mean, that wasn't Joss Whedon who wrote it, but that's just the writing style in Hollywood these days. Line, 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 punchline. Everybody gets a laugh except for me, because I can't stand it.
They just had to have their Luke, I am your father moment.
Basically.
That exchange.
And also, to disrupt the vibranium, I think, was to get the masks off so we can see the... If we're going to pay this much for some big-name actors, we're going to see their face, right?
Yeah.
That's why these suits always have, like, masks that fold up. Like, if we're going to pay this much money for Paul Rudd, he's going to have his Ant-Man mask off half the time. But, I don't know, you guys have any other good examples?
Not really.
I don't watch enough, so.
Okay.
Maybe not
you
your
can
own movies.
Take it away with Superman.
The greatest moment of this that ever happened was in Superman 2. And I don't think it's just the Donner cut. I think the theatrical cut had this too. And it's the entire fight scene with Zod before the Fortress of Solitude was mostly Zod. To quote the villain Ramses from The Tick, gotta hit him where it hurts. The civilians. Right? Zod's attacking civilians, and Superman is cutting away from the fight to save the civilians. And one of the greatest moments, and it's almost comical how it works, but it perfectly sums up what I'm talking about. Zod sees a tanker truck, and like a semi-truck. I don't know how he knows how combustion engines work, but he specifically targets his eye rays, his heat rays, at the fuel tank of this trucker. It's weird how the scaling works, because you think that at that power, like, he would just make it explode. But the tank starts to heat up. So Superman blocks Zod from doing it, and then uses his ice breath to cool the heated up fuel tank down, just to keep it from exploding. And it just perfectly sums up just this idea of, oh, not even just this is a danger, this could potentially be a danger. Better shut it down before someone even has the thought of getting hurt.
Oh, it was meant to be a joke, but the movie Sky High, the Disney live-action movie they actually made a competition of Save the Citizen. Mm-hmm. And, you know, that put me in the right spirit anyway. It's like, it's a sporting event to them, but Save the Citizen.
You You know what? That kind of actually reminds me. I didn't even think about this, but the first season of Stan Lee's, what was it? Do You Want to Be a Superhero? Who Wants to Be a
Yes.
Superhero? Where he had this trial where they had to, like, I don't even remember what it was because it wasn't a point. They were like running and finding clues in this time trial to.
Ah, yes.
And what was the hero's name?
The winner?
Yeah.
Feedback.
Feedback. There's a crying child. They're all just boom, past this crying child, past this crying child, past this crying child.
He
Every
stopped.
one of them. And he stops, and it cost him the time, but he stopped to help this civilian. And Stan Lee's like, you might have had one of the worst times, but this is what I wanted out of you. You
Yeah.
stopped and helped this crying child we planted to see if you're in the right mindset to be a true hero.
At the end, that's what being a hero was about.
Exactly. It's okay, I have a task, but I can't just let innocent people be hurt to complete my task.
Your title is not super dudes punching people. It's superhero.
Well,
Do heroic things.
I was thinking, what's the difference between John Rambo and Batman? Fundamentally, what is the difference between a superhero and an action hero? Or an action movie star or action character? The idea to me is the superhero is John Rambo had a mission, and whatever collateral damage was, John McClane, he was out to stop Gerber
Yeah.
from Die Hard. He's out to stop Gerber, and that was it. Whatever collateral damage happened. He didn't go out of his way to hurt people, but he had his mission. He's like, I'm gonna take this guy down. But Superman stopped fighting Zod to use his ice breath on a warmed up fuel tank. And without getting political, what is a hero? A hero is somebody who risks their well-being to help someone else. Without getting political, the cop issues I get, but good cops are heroes. They are willingly putting themselves in danger to help people. Firefighters are heroes. Ambulance workers, doctors are heroes. They are putting themselves at risk to help somebody they don't know. That is what makes a hero, not the ability to throw a magic item at a villain, shoot your magic laser suits, or whatever magic gear you have that gives you superpowers. Because, like I said, Tony Stark's suit, Hulk's radiation, that's not science, it's magic. They have magic powers, let's not mince words. But that's not what makes them a hero. The fact that Superman went to save one guy in a truck, one person he stopped to save. The fact that Spider-Man almost killed himself to save 10 school students is what makes him a hero. That is what I'm talking about when I'm saying this, and we don't see this enough. All too often, the heroes are so willing to just walk away from the aftermath and let it go. So, if anybody out there has anything to do with these movies, remember, heroes save civilians. If you're making a superhero movie, put in a set piece where and those set pieces also are good because it breaks up the monotony from just fight scene, plot, fight scene, plot, fight scene, plot. And I get it, that's kind of just the structure of an action movie. Action, plot, action, plot, action, plot. But Spider-Man saving a group of students from the Washington Monument is a suspenseful, intense action scene without him having to, uppercut Shocker in the face or shoot a web into Vulture's suit or whatever the heck it was. All those scenes didn't happen. I'm just kind of making up weird action-y stuff off the top of my head. I've seen Homecoming.
But yes, your powers make you super. Your actions make you a hero. That's sort of good, but that was off the top of my head.
No, it works. I like that. But that's really all I got to say, so I guess if we're done, then I will see you next time, and like and subscribe and do whatever bell thing is. I don't really use YouTube.
It's stupid. Anyway, unless Dale or Jeremy have anything else they want to say, or...
He pretty well covered it.
Okay.
Excelsior!
Excelsior, true believers. To the skies.
To the skies.
That is indeed what it means.